Well, at least the fairies didn't imprison me, or worse, for farming chakra drops off of them. Welcome back to Nocturne Fusion, where I can escape any and all death penalty. In-game, of course. While I was on my way out of Yoyogi Park, I remembered something. Because I defeated the 4 riders already, on the west area of the park, my chakra drops farming ground to be precise, there's another Fiend fight that I can do. So I rush there post-haste, equip the Narukami Magatama, and party up with Rajanaga, Long, and Kurama Tengu. And in the empty west room, I get to meet the next Fiend, Mother Harlot, who tries to make us his new boy toy. This fight is a bit problematic, like the Girmakala one. For one, she can repel physical attacks, making myself mostly a support/debuff bot. It also drains electricity, but she also uses it, so Rajanaga is nice to have since it drains her turns. Her normal attacks hits weakly 7 times, and her unique skill, Beast Roar, deals good almighty damage and heals 10% of her max HP, which can prove problematic if I don't deal enough damage every turn. During the first turn, Kurama got wiped out, and I need him for his Wind Cutter skill, so I attempt to revive him. However, after using Dragon Eye, she Dekunda her debuffs, focus up, and kills off Long and Kurama with normal attacks. It's easy to see how this attempt goes down the drain, so I basically stop trying, and even commit seppuku. Second attempt, I decide to swap Rajanaga with Hanuman and try buffing myself since she doesn't have the Kaja on hand. And this works well enough. While Hanuman and Long focus on buffing the team, I stall for turns long enough, chip away at her HP with Kurama's Wind Cutter in the process. The plan works well, even if Long gets muted at one point. Also, for some reason, Mother Harlot doesn't go for Beast Roar much. So I have to take that as an opportunity and burst through. After many turns of braving at normal attacks plus Mazionga combos from her, Mother Harlot eventually goes in phase 2 with low HP, and her barrage of attacks does not change the end result. After we get the candelabrum, I go back to Asakusa to have a chat with Hijiri, stating Isamu is gone within the Amala network, and something is going on in Ikebukuro again. Also, he seems rather upset by controlling the power of Amala. Anyway, I return to the Mantra HQ all the way in Gozu Tenno's chamber. Seems like Chiaki somehow made it there, and Gozu Tenno isn't really dead after all, and apparently he was calling for her, sensing a rage and lust of power similar to his own in the girl. Chiaki laments that her reason is about to be lost, much like her arm, and Gozu Tenno decides to offer her its remaining power, which she gladly accepts and transforms. Now Chiaki has the power to shape her own reason and revels in it. As we head out, we see angels being drawn to Chiaki's reason, which is odd if you ask me. Usually angels are the followers of order, the law route in most SMT games, but Yosuga is technically the chaos route, which is the opposite. Yes, the angels went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and decided to say screw law, we'll have some chaos today. Oh well, never mind that. I leave the Mantra HQ and I know there's another optional boss fight at this point. To find it, we need to go back to Kabukicho prison, to where we fought Mizuchi to be precise. For the upcoming fight, I use the Anathema Magatama to null death, Long for ice protection, Kurama for wind power, and Titania as a backup unit that needs the experience and nulls death. We enter Mizuchi's room and we find a huge black Jack Frost. Black Frost, the Emperor of Kabukicho. This guy can be either a pain or a complete joke. As moves, it has Mamudun, Mabufudine, Berserk, so nothing we can't really deal with. Doesn't have the Kaja and the Kunda on hand, but that's not the real issue. Black Frost has very good resistances. Physical attacks deal only 10% of the normal damage. It nulls fire, light and dark, and drains ice. The only way to harm him is via wind or electric magic. Despite the fact that Long and Kurama get killed by Mamudun, I can easily get back on my feet since 2 fog breaths here make wonders. By the time I revive both my demons and enter phase 2 with buffs applied, all I need is one well-placed wind cutter. Black Frost reverts into a Jack Frost, melts away, and drops the Satan Magatama for me. This gives 2 skills that may be useful. Jive Talk to recruit Foul, Haunt, and Wilder clan demons outside of the full Kagetsuchi phase, and Deadly Fury, a high damage and crit AoE physical attack. But for now, I'll leave it be. I return to Hijiri, who is more and more obsessed with the idea of controlling the Amala network, and now wants to create the new world. But Isamu thinks otherwise and kidnaps him through the network itself. How is beyond me. But I'm not rushing after him just yet. I make a quick stop to the Labyrinth of Amala, 3rd Kalpa to be exact. Remember the first room with switches you come across when Dante chases you? Well, if you return there now, we get to meet Black Frost, which has returned. Bite-sized though. If you have a slot free in your party, he forcefully joins you. And I have to say, I don't mind at all. Sure, his moveset is a bit meh, learning Diorama as well as Void Curse, Nerve, and Mind, but his stats and resistances are awesome to have at this stage of the game. Plus, I will need him to level Strength at least by 1 point to access a certain area, but we'll get to that later on. All in all, he's probably the third best free demons you can get in this game. If you played Nocturne already, you may know who are the two best ones, but again, it's a story for later. I return to Asakusa, make a physical party, and dive in the Amala network one last time to find Hijiri. We find Izamu, saying he's ready to summon his god and invites us to the Amala Temple, where Hijiri will also be. 5 seconds later, that damn specter shows up again. Persistent little thing, I'll give him that, but it's time to put it out of its misery. I'll start by saying, no magic will work, only physical moves. But on the first turn, debuff them as much as you can. Why? Well, the jolly fellow over here will use Last Resort, an almighty attack that deals heavy damage to all by sacrificing itself. It should harm the other Spectre copies, but they are immune to that kind of damage in this fight. The best strategy would be to kill them all at once or one-shot them one by one. I don't have access to attack all, so I divine shot them one by one. The battle itself isn't really hard since they don't have more than 750 HP, but they can summon more of themselves and use the Kaja, making the process much slower. If they call for more, focus on the new ones since they won't have the debuffs you have already applied. It takes me a while because of the gathering spam, but all in all, it was only a matter of 5 minutes before I was done. Rajanaga gets Void Fire, nullifying his weakness in place of life gain. Hanuman gets Endure in place of Sacrifice, and finally, I'm through with the Amala network for good. We finally reached the Amala Temple. Isamu invites us to enter, but that won't happen today. I have one tiny last thing to do before entering. I say goodbye to my longtime friend Valkyrie, and outside the Amala Temple I recruit a Sparta. This guy is good. High magic and agility, repels wind, nullifies ailments, has Tsukukaja and Fog Breath along with Zandine. I can easily see why he's a fan favorite for low level and no fusion runs, and that's why he's gonna come with me. And with a new party member, we can call it a day. It took me a good while to record all of that, but all in all, I think it was better for me to cover more things, unlike last time where I only did the fairy park and tried to stretch it. Next time, we venture in the Amala Temple and there's gonna be a lot to deal with. If you enjoyed, consider leaving a like and a comment and subscribe for more Nocturne shenanigans. This has been Bahama Raven, and until next time, the Hellgate is closed. Have a wonderful day, guys.